Hi, everyone. Farmington Mayor Nate Ducket. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Mayor's Table. Today's episode focuses on economic development with the Economic Development Director, Warren Unsicker, with the City of Farmington. Before we get into that, though, I want to make sure that I share with you how excited I am about the future of this community. We're working hard to make sure that we're building in public-private partnership opportunities to promote local businesses, grow jobs, and provide a future for this economy. But in that, I want to make sure that I put on you kind of the call to action for this community is that you share in that positive attitude, that you take the time to take ownership for and responsibility for all the areas of this city that you hold dear. Each of us has that place in our heart for a special place, whether it's the trails in the canyon, whether it's on the river trail, or whether it's downtown. We need to take ownership for that. And so I just ask you, as a member of this community and somebody that loves living here, let's promote each other positively. Let's be an ambassador for what the City of Farmington is and what it's going to be. And stay tuned and enjoy this episode. Everyone, Farmington Mayor Nate Ducket. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Mayor's Table. We are live here in the San Juan Safe Community Studio with my friend Warren Unsicker, Economic Development Director for the City of Farmington. Welcome to the show.
Always a pleasure, Mayor.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Cheers.
Today we're going to talk about good stuff, Warren, and that's what I like about economic development is the fact that you're focusing on not just what's happening now, but you're trying to look ahead. And for us, it's looking ahead to see what is the city going to look like 10, 20, 30 years down the road, and how we're trying to build that foundation right now for what the future looks like. So thank you for being here with us. And
always a pleasure.
That'd be good to update the community on things that are happening in regards to economic development initiatives. And let's kind of just jump into it.
Excellent.
We just completed a big economic development project.
Massive one, and one that I've seen successfully accomplished in other communities, and I have nothing but high hopes for what it's going to do for our community, and it's already done amazing things so far. We've spent millions of dollars on a major streetscaping of our downtown, and it looks stunning.
Looks really good, and I agree with you, the idea that just changing the way people view that area is going to infuse opportunity for new businesses and grow that economic component of our community. I get excited, to be honest with you.
Right.
When I'll just tell you this morning, driving here, I was thinking about all the different components of Main Street as you're driving from Pinion Hills down to downtown, and now it's really become a real special place for me to go. I get to go cruise around in this really nice area that's brand new sidewalks, brand new curbs, brand new roundabouts. But I get to see restaurants that are putting outdoor seating in right now with covered patio areas. That's awesome.
It really is, and it's exciting to see all these entrepreneurs that have been there for ages that are building into their businesses and expanding their businesses and are taking advantage of this great new tool that has been created, but also all these entrepreneurs that are coming in and starting afresh in downtown because they're excited about the vision that we've created down there. And we've had, I think, close to 10 new businesses over the last year during construction and during everything that's been going on that have started in downtown. And that's huge. That's a proof of concept that this is a great investment by the city into our community, and something that's going to keep drawing people down. We likewise had a couple groups that are under construction as we speak with the Ironwood Gym and the Lock Street Eats and the Anasazi Inn. People coming and saying, yeah, this is a great place to invest our dollars and something we want to be a part of.
Well, the Anasazi Inn, interesting just to note that the City Council did approve some incentive funding, so to speak, for the tear down of that building. The City Council's determination on that was really based upon the public dollars that had been being spent for public safety reasons there. Obviously the hotel had its heyday at one point in time, had a great restaurant in it. I believe it also had a liquor store. Those days are long gone, and what it's turned into now is unfortunate. And it's at a really important, in my mind, intersection of Broadway and Main Street. And right across the street from it's going to be a new retirement or assisted living type community,
Mission
right?
Senior Living, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so there's so much synergy and excitement and vibrancy going on around downtown too. We even have work going on at the Copper Penny. We've seen some of that being torn down in preparation for turning that into something new and exciting. So just this whole corridor is just seeing a rebirth and a revitalization, and it's really exciting to see. And we've got entrepreneurs inquiring on a regular basis, how they can get into downtown. And so we've had ribbon cuttings just in the past couple weeks of new businesses coming to downtown.
Right. So I think we talked a lot about public-private partnerships. Downtown was certainly one of those, between the Civic Center renovation, the Main Street downtown renovation, and the Tota Theater.
Yes.
That's also being renovated right now. Between those three projects, we're somewhere around $24 million
Right.
of public funding, so to speak. And a lot of that money is grant money as well.
Sure.
But that $23 million is being invested so that those entrepreneurs can then come in and invest their own dollars in that area. I mean, you're basically creating a canvas for people to paint their picture and their vision for what they want to see there. We've also invested dollars in the Park Ranger Division
Right.
For the downtown area, and I think we've gotten some really good feedback on that. Also as a component of that project, we've got free Wi-Fi that's going in. It's not quite completed yet. And then we also have a sound system that covers the whole area. So I'm excited to see what this looks like coming in to the warmer months as we see people out and about. And I think from the component of being, if somebody is owning a downtown business or looking to own a downtown business, I would encourage them to have some consistent hours of operation during the weekend hours. I think as we want to attract people to this area, knowing that you can go downtown and you're going to have shops that are going to be open on Saturdays or shops that are open until past 5 o'clock, I think it's going to be really important to help bolster up everybody in that area.
Absolutely.
Retail and restaurants and places where people are bringing foot traffic to, anytime you have additional foot traffic coming to your neighbor's lot, you're getting an additional foot traffic to your lot. And so make sure you take care of that opportunity and
Right.
potential that your business has by being open during the hours when people are actually down there. So I would encourage anybody considering downtown or those that are there now of looking at that. So that's one big project. That was a big deal. 2020 was a very painful year for those downtown
Sure.
businesses for a number of different reasons. But we've made it through that construction phase. There's still going to be some planting going on and some other stuff that's going to be happening. But I'm excited for what that looks like. Let's kind of move on and talk about some of the other local projects that are happening here. Outdoor recreation has been a really important component of our initiative. We don't need to go back through the history of this, but this community sees itself as a place where outdoor lovers and active families can thrive, right?
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about some of those ORI projects, as we call
Yeah.
it, the Outdoor Recreation Industry Initiative. Talk a little bit about what's going on there.
Sure thing. And, there's a lot of public-private partnership going into that as well, and we're very pleased to have so many user groups that are engaged in a lot of this stuff to make them happen. But we've been fortunate to receive some grants to accomplish a few things, like the IMBA grant. This is the International Mountain Bikers Association, to be able to put in a keynote kind of custom-made mountain biking trail system on 93 acres that the city owns.
And this is in North Foothills area.
Exactly.
Which right now we're calling the Pinion Hills, recreation area, or Foothills
Yeah.
recreation area.
And so this is a huge opportunity for us to be able to kind of write our own story about what we want our mountain biking opportunities to look like here in Farmington. So we'll be beginning that process, and there'll be opportunity for public input. So all these bicycle groups and people that are interested in the future of that will have an opportunity to weigh in and give their input and insight into what that should look like for them and what their community looks like in the future. We've also been seeing a lot of entrepreneurs already jumping into the ORI initiative and wanting to be a part of that. People opening bait and equipment shops and opening up tourism guide shops. We were fortunate enough to formulate a project down on Miller and Pinion to allow for two businesses to take advantage of a city building that was underutilized and just lying fallow to be able to open a rafting guide service and as well as a OHV repair, rescue, and guide service in there. So we're starting to see that kind of bug caught by these folks of wanting to be a part of the outdoor rec future of Farmington and beyond. And the county has been a great partner in that as well, along with the BLM. They've been working on their RTP grant out in the Glade to expand those trails and make that a better place to recreate. And likewise, our own Parks Department has been doing a stellar job at expanding our river trails. That is such a huge asset. Our rivers, I should say, in general, are such an asset that are underutilized at this point. And that trail system is just kind of the first step in making it that much more accessible and easy to take advantage of that great asset.
Yeah, the river trail component, and I think many people have seen this. Something has been neglected for decades.
Right.
Is making sure that we provide access to that river, and it really promotes this community and that outdoor active lifestyle. Retirement community is another one of our initiatives, and when I think about a place that I would want to retire, it's having access to those types of outdoor areas. Anytime somebody's been here, Berg Park in the Animas River Trail area, those are always big highlights for us. Farmington Lake also. I mean, anywhere you've got natural water areas, the lake is, a dam, so to speak. But, you've got these big water areas that attract wildlife, attract people. And I think our council certainly saw that as an opportunity for us to continue to grow the amenities in this community. I mean, it's about quality of life.
Absolutely.
Where you're choosing to live. But the River Trail, the newest expansion to it, I got to tell you, I've been on it while they're in construction right now, and it's just beautiful. It's front facing the bluffs on the south side of town, and it's going to be a big deal. I'm really excited about that. And then we're going to see that go all the way up to the Pinion Hills Bridge area. So, and I say Pinion Hills Bridge because that's an important economic development project, which still remains as the number one capital improvement project that the city has listed on its list. And that would basically, bring in or allow for the people on the Mesa to come across the bridge right into the East Main Street retail corridor. And I know a lot of businesses are, have kind of built in that area with the idea that it's going to be a big boom for them. So that remains an important, in my mind, economic development project. And as we look to, some of the other areas within the community, I want to make sure we highlight maybe some of the things that we have been able to accomplish over the last few years, and a number of removal of blight type projects. We talked about the Anasazi is going to be coming down. The Sage Motels have both come down. The Miller and Pinion property had an old gas station, oil field office there. That's come down. So there's a focus and an emphasis here that recognizes that there are some beautification efforts that can be made.
Absolutely.
And council has when it's had the opportunity, put those dollars towards that. How important is kind of cleaning up those types of things to a community as economic development is concerned?
It's huge because people get first impressions when they come into a community. And when they drive by things that are boarded up or burnt out and things that are falling into themselves, it leaves a negative impression. And so the more we can create those entryways that are vibrant and show the heart of this community, that entrepreneurial and resilient spirit, the better it is for attracting new business, for keeping businesses here, and for keeping citizens feeling positive about their community. And so I think that's huge. We've even seen the Red Lion Inn is getting renovated. It's not looking as falling into itself as it used to. And so there's things like that. And again, that entrepreneurs are taking the initiative on some of these now, which is exciting and encouraging to see. That it's not all on the taxpayer dollars shoulders to make these things happen, and that's huge. And you kind of get that momentum going, and people go, I want to be a part of that revitalization, that growth, and that vibrancy. And we've been getting a lot of new projects come to light, even in our project development meetings. People coming forward and say, I've got these retail projects I want to put in. Retail's always been a big push here, but we're seeing some of the vacant or kind of fallow open lots that we have in our retail corridor being revitalized and taken over and cleared to make way for new opportunities. And so I think that the more that can happen, the better it's going to be for our community.
Well, and it gives that, in spaces where like the Anasazi is at, it gives that new development area for a new thing to be built there. In many of these areas, these were buildings that were built back in the 1960s, and they've kind of seen the best of days come and go. And so continuing to challenge the current environment. And look, right now is a tough time economically speaking. And I think it's important that we consider all those things anytime we're looking at these projects and where we're putting our dollars. But it is, in my mind, it's extremely important to remain on the offensive, to have some part of what the public budget is going towards is the revitalization of this city.
Yeah.
We have to constantly be renewing ourselves to look forward to that future growth. And we have some really cool economic indicators right now that we're not too bad, so to speak. I know we've suffered through some very trying economic times, but as the housing market shows us, I mean, right now, I read the other day, prices are starting to come up again. It is a seller's market, so to speak. I mean, if you've got a home for sale, I understand they're moving quickly. So in a lack of inventory in the certain price ranges for homes, that we're attracting people from all across the country who are starting to hear that message that, the Four Corners area is just a beautiful place to live, work, play, and stay. And the accessibility of so many of God's great outdoor recreation assets can be found right here. Is there anything going on right now in the state legislature that has you excited or maybe not so excited? I mean, I think let's stay on the excited part.
Yes,
let's stay on the positive side of life. Is there anything working in the state legislature right now that you think could be helpful?
Yeah, well, I mean, first and foremost, the $200 million business assistance program that was just passed is huge. That's something that is, we're always looking for ways to help our businesses survive and thrive during these times. We had the fortunate opportunity to be able to provide some funding through the city and have likewise helped people access the federal programs, the PPP and EIDL programs and other initiatives. But the state has re-upped its efforts to put money in the hands of businesses that are struggling and that are having issues with paying their wages to their employees. And so this is huge, and it's good to see a commitment to that. But likewise, on a broader level, for things that we're trying to push for in our community, one of the legislative initiatives that I'm excited about or have honestly been pushing for since I landed here is the ability for us to have a little more control over the LEDA statute, the Local Economic Development Act, that allows us to create those public-private partnerships that we talked about and expands the scope to allow us to do that for more retail-oriented business. And, for us especially, retail is, in my opinion, more of a base job because we do attract a lot from the outside in. We are the retail hub not only for our entire county, but for the entire Four Corners area. So the more we can draw in those experiential retail opportunities, and especially in the outdoor rec sphere, the better for our whole community and for the attraction of tourism to our community. So this statute amendment to the statute would allow us to have a little more leeway to work with retail-oriented businesses that could help us accomplish those goals.
No, I agree, and especially when you look at border communities, with different states and those regional hubs, retail is absolutely a base job component. We would love to get a Trader Joe's, a Costco,
Right.
But as incentives go, and I mean, I have my own personal feelings about incentives. People want to incentivize everything,
Sure.
And government, government's hand is found in so many different areas that it was never intended to be. But through LEDA, at least we've got available funding for other big projects. Top Golf, interestingly enough, Top Golf was found to be a base job thing, and it received some LEDA funding.
Okay.
City of Albuquerque also promoted that. The Facebook building in Los Lunas, was it Los Lunas?
Yeah.
Yeah. Received state funding for that. And in many of those cases, they did not create, very many jobs.
Right.
But there was a lot of incentive for Facebook to come and build here at Topgolf. And we see that, here in our area, and I know down south as well, I've spoken to mayors in the southern part of the state that border up to Texas, that would like to have, the ability to
Right.
to pick and choose better where they can put that money. So I think that would be a good component as well.
Another one that's intriguing to us and one that we've heard some desire from local small entrepreneurs is the ability to have a liquor license that doesn't cost upwards of $500,000. That's something that was news to me when coming from other states and working in other states where usually they're $5,000 to $10,000 at the most. This was a record scratch from that, and knowing that there was quite a barrier to entry for any small entrepreneurs wanting to open a unique boutique retail experience for people to come and enjoy. And that's something that's a heart of most downtowns, is having that nightlife that is unique and kind of tailored around the community. And so I'm hopeful that there's some legislation that's kind of poking at that and trying to figure out how to make it more accessible for local small entrepreneurs to be able to start liquor establishments that are more geared, again, towards the entertainment perspective of things.
Yeah, New Mexico is so unique in so many different ways. But, when you consider Durango, Colorado, our neighbor just to the north, and what they've created in that, that little tourist area, because you have access to the entertainment and nightlife and establishments there that make it fun. It fun to go hang out in downtown Durango. New Mexico has made liquor licensing a commodity. It's like personal property,
Right.
And I'm hopeful that this round, this 60-day session, they will find an answer to that. Because obviously, if you're somebody who's spent that and invested those hundreds of thousands of dollars into that license, you don't want it to be devalued.
Right. Absolutely.
But sounds like they're maybe finding some solutions to that, because many people have told the story that downtown's not going to grow if it doesn't have those types of establishments in it. Our hotels, the other restaurateurs, you can't simply create a business plan without a huge chunk of money to include that as a component of what you want to do and provide to your customers. So we have to find a solution to that. I want to come to Farmington. I want to ride the trails. I want to jump in my OHV and hit the canyon. I want to go, paddleboard at the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I make a plan to stay here for the weekend, I want to know that I can go and have some fun. And that's what this beautiful downtown area is really becoming.
Precisely right. Absolutely.
Many subjects on the economic development. I want to make sure that we touch, the importance of the relationship with Four Corners Economic Development, the Navajo Nation, and what SCAPE has become, the Southern Colorado group that's come here and has helped promote local entrepreneurs looking for investment and into their businesses. Things that we're working on through them. Obviously, the railroad project continues to, probably much more steam now than it's ever had before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there any updates that you can provide us on that?
So just to give everyone catch up a little bit, is that that project received a $2 million U.S. Department of Transportation build grant. And that's going to allow the county and the Navajo Nation and the city and other partners to work toward coming up with an engineering and rail alignment plan. And that's going to give us that one step closer to being able to find, say, a short haul provider or someone that would be willing to build that in a public-private partnership. There are other funding mechanisms out there once we have the plan in place to help pay for the rail in some way, shape, or form through the DOT and Department of Energy and others. So that's huge. And we're actually just starting the process with the feds next week. We'll be meeting with them to talk through kind of the scope of that plan and how that moves forward. So we're, I think, closer than ever on the rail than we've ever been in the 20, 30 years that it's been kind of on the front burner of wanting to accomplish. And so that's huge. And it's a critical piece not only to commerce and building new businesses, but just the cost of living here too. It's going to reduce the cost of commodities and goods that we utilize to build homes, to build oil vessels and pressure vessels that we create, and to export those products and get them to broader markets.
Right.
And so it has huge ramifications if we can make that happen. So we're really hopeful that this gets it one step closer.
Well, I'll tell you what, Warren, one of the biggest challenges New Mexico is going to face is this continued moratorium on drilling on public lands for oil and gas, and of course what has been the shutdown now of the Keystone Pipeline. But it just sends a wave of what the future holds with there won't be any pipelines being built during the next 4 years at least, and that's discouraging because as an economic development component, we have such a huge supply of natural resources in this area that if we could get out of New Mexico and we could sell them across the globe, but they're simply not easy and really affordable means of transportation to do that with. So we're going to have to, I think rail is an important component. The Navajo Nation's involvement in this cannot be undersold.
Oh, not at all. It's
on there, it's on the Navajo Nation where this rail line would come up from Gallup. And I just wanted to say thank you to Arvin and our team at Four Corners Economic Development for working on this. so diligently. San Juan College also had a big announcement here recently. They've, of course, broke ground on their dorms.
Great addition to that college, and it's such a already great asset to our community. Just adding that new resource is huge.
You know, in 2020, we lost Dr. Jim Henderson, who was the visionary of San Juan College, and I had to think the day I was there for the groundbreaking of what he would be thinking or what he is thinking, to see this next step in the growth of that higher education establishment. I mean, bringing in dorms is going to allow individuals who have been traveling, and we had a great story. Our public information officer, when she was attending San Juan College, said, you know, individuals coming from the Navajo Nation, traveling hours to get to classes on a daily basis, and this is going to be affordable housing for students. It's going to include the regular college type feel of clubs and different components to it, which, you know, I just think is going to be a blessing to this community and for individuals who are needing that higher education opportunity that are from abroad.
Absolutely, and it gives them more time to focus on their studies and less time having to travel to and from their homes, and so it's just a great removal of a barrier for a lot of these students, and that's huge.
What else, Warren? Anything else on your large list of economic development?
There's no shortage of great things, and you mentioned SCAPE and the entrepreneurial assistance that's going to provide. The college and other community partners joined up with a program out of Colorado called SCAPE that allows for entrepreneurs, especially with high growth products or services, to go and put their hat in the ring for up to $25,000 in basically seed capital to help their business get started. And this is a great tool by which to help these people become ready for the next phase of funding for those venture capitalists or angel investors. It helps them get their product ready for prime time, so to speak. And so it was a great synergy, especially with the resources that our college has with the Makerspace and the Enterprise Center incubator. It's primed and ready to help have a low-cost startup for these businesses too, so they can ramp up and become commercialized with their products. So the synergies between these programs was huge and just a perfect fit, and we're really excited to have that opportunity to help local businesses here.
Yeah. On top of that also is the broadband initiatives that have really, I think I want to call it a wildfire, and but across the nation they're recognizing the need for improved infrastructure for communication.
Absolutely.
And so, we've got a project, of course, from Farmington Electric Utility. We've looked at the feasibility of doing our own broadband service as kind of a utility, really, for folks. I mean, there's arguments out there being made that broadband is a public utility, and it should be and can be considered as such. Whether it should be, that's arguable. But I think if there's an opportunity there to expand that for not just those inside the city, but I would like to see us be able to reach out and touch the rural areas of the county, anywhere that Farmington Electric has a service, for us to have the ability to do that. Yeah. It's going to be important, though, in consideration of all these things, of what the future holds for communication, transportation methods. But I have to say this: what I've read and learned is broadband is going to always be a necessity. Having that hardwired component is always going to be a key in ensuring that we have high speeds when it comes to internet access and those things. So the upload speeds being important as the download speeds. So I think broadband is going to be a big thing for us. It's going to continue to be on the front of the radar as we look towards the future. Last thing I have here, Warren, and I'll let you finish up, but I want to make sure that people understand that we recognize that in economic development, it's also taking care of those important assets that you already have built.
Absolutely.
Pinion Hill Golf Course comes to mind just as a quick thought on that. I mean, here's a golf course that continues to receive national attention for being an awesome outdoor recreation experience for avid golfers. Personally, I lose a lot of golf balls on Pinion, but I'm not a very good golfer. But we know that it needs some love, and there's a number of facilities in the city that are in needing of maintenance investment. And it's been a trying period since 2009 in how we've done these things, but these are areas that we're looking at, and Pinion Hills Golf Course is slated right now. We're doing a study for the upgrades to the irrigation system and the cart paths in the short term. And so I think it's important people to know. And I think from a retirement community perspective, having that that key golf course that you can go to local and it's affordable.
Right.
We also have, obviously, the county has Riverview Golf Course, which is a great course. And I continue to say that, as far as, the country club goes here in town, that's just a beautiful neighborhood. It's privately owned, obviously, private golf course. But if somebody's looking for a place to relocate and they've got the means, the country club offers a tremendous experience for its club members. So we have a lot of assets here, Warren, a lot of things that we should be proud of as members of this community. And,
Very much so.
And many blessings, I think, is, kind of the hub of business here in the Four Corners area. We have to continue to be innovative in finding ways for us to take advantage of that. So thank you for the work that you're doing in that regard.
It's a pleasure to be doing so. It's an exciting time and opportunity for our community.
Sure. Anything else you would add to this?
No, just that we are really fortunate, and our founders and those that came before us built a lot into this community. And the more we can take that vision and that drive and continue it on into the future, I think we have a lot of opportunities. And so, again, just the place that we live is so unique in the way that it is accessible to all these great outdoor adventures and these great experiences that many people have on their bucket lists. And we can do them in a weekend at any given day.
Right.
And so, and you can escape down to the river trails and feel like you're in the wilderness all of a sudden, right in the middle of our city. And that's an experience that not everybody has. We have a lot of people right now that are having to stay, sheltered in place in apartment buildings in the middle of, concrete jungles. And they're looking envious at what we have to offer. And so I think we have a lot of opportunities and a lot to offer the broader world at large to draw them into our community.
I completely agree. So for the community, how can you get involved? I think supporting local is a great way to do that. I think looking for opportunities to talk about and be an ambassador for the City of Farmington and the things that we have built here and the things that we will be building. Positive attitude and great effort, I think, are going to be the most important components of this. And I certainly, on a daily basis, want to challenge myself to try and make somebody's day out in the community, whether it's just waving at somebody, good morning, holding a door. I think as we foster that type of community, that mentality of what community is, taking care of one another is a really key. So, Warren, thanks for joining us today here.
Always
Economic development is critical, and we'll have you back on the show again.
Perfect. Thank you, Mayor.
And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time right here on the Mayor's Table.